this colleague of mine goes, hey, go, hey, and I'm going, all right, Sarah, chill. And this person goes, hey, Ash, you've put on weight since we started school. And I'm like, sorry, I need to see somebody that tells me, you're doing well, you're okay, I feel it too, keep going. That is what I need to see. It's the only reason I go public with certain things.
Welcome to The Good Chat, where we interview activists, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, anyone who has experiences and insights that will empower and inspire others. Today we have Tezara Saliba or Camilleri, I'm not
Saliba.
Tezara Saliba as our guest, and we're going to delve into her obviously experience on stage. She's a triple threat or even more. She's a dancer, a singer, an actor. She's also a content creator, an educator. So we're going to talk a lot about that. She's also spoken very openly about body positivity and also mental health, and we're going to delve into that. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank our partners who are supporting this production, Tech.mt, People and Skin, and Gracie's, which is the venue where we're hosting this episode. Tez, thank you so much for being here. I'm a big fan of your spontaneity, of your keeping it real attitude, and
I try.
For those who don't know, those few who may not know who you are, tell us who's Tezara.
Who's Tezara? I don't think I would even introduce myself as Tezara. I always kind of introduce myself as Tez. Tezara is so official and I feel like I'm in trouble, so I always stick to Tez. I'm Tez everywhere I go. I'm Auntie Tez, I'm Miss Tez at school, so let's go with Tez. I was Tez on the radio. Who am I? Well, it's funny you ask because I think I wear a lot of hats. I'm an actress and a singer. I'm also a drama teacher by profession. I'm a wife. I don't really know, even social media-wise, you mentioned that I'm a content creator. I don't really identify with the term Instagrammer because I genuinely don't identify with it.
In fact, I didn't use the term influencer because I myself prefer the term content creator because you do create content, sometimes even you interview people and you know, you put out your thoughts out there. So
that was something that kind of happened naturally. I used to work in radio for a couple of years, and what I loved about being on air is that you put the mic up, with the fader up, we call it, and you're just chatting with the listeners. And when I left radio, I still had that urge to talk about things that interested me, you know, it's why you mentioned body image and mental health and all of that. So that's why I then changed my handle from Tezzy, which was my nickname, to Tez Talks. And this is what I feel, well, this is what I'm trying to bring more into social media. Obviously, I'm not the only one. There are other people that do it as well, but I'm not somebody who's really into fashion and stuff, so I'm not going to bring that to social media. But I do enjoy having certain conversations. Just this morning, for example, I posed a question saying, what defines us? And the answers were absolutely amazing. Just like you, I love to understand what the answer is and why. And when you pose a question that gets you thinking, it starts a conversation. So rather than a content creator, I like to call myself a conversation starter.
So I follow Trudica's podcast, The Interviewer, which I recommend you guys listen to if you're not listening to it yet, because it's some amazing episodes.
It's amazing.
And you are like a regular guest there.
Yes. In fact, earlier I mentioned that I used to work in radio, which is how I became very good friends with Trudy.
That's another one, you see, triple threat and more, radio.
Oh my God. Well, yes. It was one I had to tick off my list. I did TV, I did theater, I'm like, radio, I need to do radio.
And in one of the episodes, you mentioned something that really surprised me, to be honest. And you mentioned that you have a hate-hate relationship with your body.
I do.
And to be honest, maybe most people have a love-hate relationship with their body. But when you said hate-hate relationship, it really stuck out to me that, I mean, you're such a beautiful woman.
That's why it surprised you, because I don't give that impression, probably.
No, you don't give that impression. But I also think, obviously, we all, you know, let's face it, everyone struggles with body image and all that. But when you said hate, it surprised me a lot. Where does that? You also mentioned about that you didn't even swim on your honeymoon.
No.
in the Mauritius.
Yeah.
Because of this, I mean, this is something that is, I think people resonate with a lot, because obviously there's a lot of people struggling out there, and the kind of image that's obviously portrayed is this perfect body, and I do feel it's changing. I think it's improving.
Yes, I agree with you, and I see where you're coming from. obviously this is something, first of all, it's something I love speaking about. We received fantastic feedback on that particular episode because her and I do an episode like once a month, so there are quite a few, but this one in particular, it really resonated with them because I spoke both about body image and also about mental health. The body image part of it, I didn't expect it, if I'm honest. She doesn't tell me what she's going to ask. So she asked this question because I had put up a post on Instagram saying, perfect bodies, we don't know them.
And there was an episode as well of someone commenting as well about...
Yes, yes, and it got picked up by a couple of news portals. Yes, in fact, I'm a very normal person. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm very normal. I am, okay, I suppose I'm an actress, I'm a singer, possibly a personality on TV and whatever, but I go home to my husband. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I have a mommy, I have a daddy. I'm normal. We all have our days where we look in the mirror and we say, oh my God, no, I can't do this. Unfortunately, I have them more often than not. There is the genetic side to it as well. I'm not naturally slim, so I do have to watch what I eat very much. I don't particularly enjoy training. I train so I can eat. I like the food more than the training. And ultimately, why I decided to go with it on the podcast is because I am an educator. I wouldn't say first and foremost, but I am an educator. And I think what we say has an impact. What do I mean? I don't think there is yet enough normal on social media. And I don't like that. I think things are changing, yes, and we're moving in the right direction. And if, obviously, what you follow comes up on your feed, Mashak, but I do notice certain things. How many likes did you get for that? No, this is not on, it's not right. So this is why I want to be what I want to see, because you can only be the change you want to see, you know? I don't know where it stemmed from. I've never been happy with my body, to the point that, as you mentioned, where I went, literally, I can't even say I don't go to the beach in Malta, I go to the beach abroad, because I was in the middle of nowhere on a beach in Mauritius and my husband is swimming and I'm like, hi, I'm gonna be here.
And there was no one there, so it's obviously internal, it's not even about other people, it's about you feeling. And I think it is important, and I brought it up because I do agree with you 100% that we do need to bring this to light more. I think there's a lot of impressionable young girls out there. I think
and young men, but
and young men
boys
as well, and young men as well. Obviously, I'm saying girls because we're both women, but I agree with you 100%. I think also kind of as such, it's not really social media's fault, because in my time there was magazines. Obviously, social media has kind of catapulted it to another level because obviously it's so all the time in our hands, and we're seeing obviously Instagram, whatever. But I do feel that it's really, really important to have people like you speak out and say, listen, I'm not perfect. And normally, the funny thing is that normally even the people who look perfect do not really look like that. And that's the crazy part, that obviously there's a lot of editing going on, there's filters.
But it's good, there are now pages where, again, if you follow the right ones, where you see the expectation versus reality, and I like that. I like the filtered versus the unfiltered. And I show them to my kids at school as well, and I'm like, this is the real thing.
Yes.
I don't want them to look at their mom who has had a kid or two, and they say of my mom, no, your mom is beautiful.
What I was thinking about, which is crazy as well, because I have kids, it's the Disney princesses as well. The Elsas are they are unachievable. The bodies are literally, you can't have like organs inside if you have that body. So and I get annoyed because my daughter is like seeing these cartoons and even the movies like Descendants. I mean, parents will relate. But
I love Descendants.
I love it as well. I can really imagine you as one of the cast.
I totally auditioned with the song of Maleficent's mom. I did.
I can really imagine you there. Like they have guys, you have to produce Descendants of Malta and have Tezara.
Cast me.
I love it too. But you see the bodies, you see kind of the perfection, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, young boys and girls, you know, this is what they're looking up to. And I'm not saying we should kind of endorse unhealthy
No,
body, but
no.
normalize, like you say, normalize
normal bodies,
normal
normalize
body.
stretch marks,
Yes.
normalize cellulite.
Yes.
This is it. I mean, I'm not saying go and eat pizza,
Every day.
consume everything, and have cellulite and be like, I ate a pizza. No, I'm saying you're leading a healthy lifestyle. You're working out, blah blah blah. And because I eat very healthily, don't get me wrong. I like my food. I will enjoy a carbonara every now and then. You know, I like a glass of wine. But then I would go for a run, for example. So I lead quite a healthy, balanced diet, but lifestyle.
And the problem is that when you have a type of body always kind of being, highlighted, and the other types of body are not, then everyone thinks that is normal,
Of course,
that is
and
the
the rest
problem.
is abnormal.
And that is what I totally. I mean, the Good Chat and the Good Life itself is very much stands for body positivity,
For
mental
sure.
health. So we are really. That's why obviously I'm really happy to have you as our guest, because I really want to bring these subjects to light, and also just let people know that, listen, there's also, let's face it, I mean, I know that you struggle as well, but there's more to life than,
course.
What you eat.
Listen, it's very easy for us to sit here and say, yes, but then I can understand when I'm having a really bad day and I go, yes, all right, there's more to life, but I'm feeling really ugly.
No, and it's important to feel good as well, because at the end of the day, to look good, you also feel good. So I think it's a struggle, because it's really hard, right? To find that balance of feeling good and looking good. And
then people post certain comments, and I think that offends me.
Can you tell us exactly for those who don't know?
Those who don't know, unfortunately, something that's very common, it happens to all of us, because the amount of feedback I got of, yes, me too, it happened to me too, is a colleague of mine told me, because I run after school, I work in MJAR, I absolutely love nature, I don't like city life, I am totally a country girl, and I love to go right after work, and I was about to go for a run, and this colleague of mine goes, hey, and I'm going, all right, Sarah, chill. And this person goes, hey, Ash, you've put on weight since we started school, and I'm like, sorry, all on me. And he said, when I started working here, you were much slimmer, please note. But when this person had started working there, I happened to be getting married. We all lose weight before we get married.
Yes.
It's natural, it's natural. Secondly, I hadn't yet developed a thyroid problem, now I do. And anyway, it's none of your business!
He had a death wish, basically.
Enough, man, I don't know what he had.
Did he reach out to you since then?
He did, he actually reached out the day after.
I was very curious.
No, he reached out the day after because I was like, lallo, statni, I told him, I don't even know what to tell you. Ali, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to lie to you? I told him, I didn't ask for your opinion. So anyway, I'm off on this run and I'm crying. One of those drama moments where you're running.
The ugly cry.
Anyway, I laugh about it now, but I felt really miserable. And anyway, I went for a run and I got home and I'm like, I'm going to say it on my stories. And I did. I turned the camera and I'm like, I do not want any pity or anything, but this happens to me today and this is wrong. I explained what happened and the feedback was insane. People saying, of course it's wrong, of course it's wrong. This is not something I have yet gone public with, but I also have had a hate-hate relationship because I couldn't get pregnant for a very long time, and you almost hate your body because you can't produce it and you don't know why. You kind of look at yourself and say, Emma, what's wrong? Emma, tell me, what's wrong? What else can I do?
So it adds another layer to it.
It adds another layer. So when somebody says, you've put on weight, you're like, Halini, Jabeen, I have enough on my plate. I'm trying to conceive. I'm not managing. It's like, Halini, I just want
no
to go
one
for
ever
a run.
knows what's
You genuinely, and this is, I think, how I had ended that story, where I said, you don't know what somebody is going through. You genuinely, I could have not been trying to conceive. I could have just had a bad day. I could have been having the best day of my life. But you genuinely don't know where somebody is coming from. So why risk having somebody's day shattered? I mean,
absolutely.
He came the next day and he apologized. And I don't know if his wife or somebody might have nudged him and said that was out of line. I don't know. But he came and ta' raġel li he apologized. So, and I told him, listen, ħbib konna, ħbib nibqaw, don't worry about it, because he came and he apologized. There are days where I am out of line.
I think one thing you mentioned as well on the podcast is to unfollow anyone that makes you anxious and feel bad about yourself, or snooze them or mute them or whatever. But I think it's really important to, if someone contact is making you feel anxious or worrying, even whether it's about body positivity or about the cases of corona or anything like that, you know, I think it's important to protect kind of our space of what we consume as content, because I think that is our job now, because there's so much content kind of being pushed on us. I think we really have a kind of duty to control what we are following, and I think you're doing an amazing job at kind of putting, because if there aren't people who are doing this, then there's no one to follow, you know. So I mean, you talk also about mental health.
Yes.
And I want to delve into that. And you mentioned something very powerful in your interview with Trudy, and you mentioned that at a point you felt like someone was pushing your head underwater and keeping you down, and you were explaining obviously the kind of dark days you have, and I believe, to be honest, everyone has a level of, you know, stress, whether you call it stress, mental health issues, whatever it is. So that's why I feel that we should normalize it, and that's why I'm obviously bringing
it up. I think it's a journey. I can't say that I've gone through any particular type of trauma where I have had a mental period because of a certain trauma, but I do have dark days, which is funny because I'm such a bubbly person that you wouldn't think I have these dark days, but I do. And that was the best way I could describe it. I remember having a session with my therapist, and she told me, tell me, use your words, what are you feeling? I said, it's like somebody has their hand on my head and I can't come up for air. And it genuinely feels like that. I haven't had a bad period in a really long time. Normally, when you run from one thing to the next, you don't have time to stop and give in to the feelings, give in to the anxiety, give in to the uncertainty of certain things. But yeah, there was a very dark period where I felt like one of many. What do I mean? I felt like if something had to happen to me, my parents have 3 other kids. If something has to happen to me, my husband is young enough to get married again.
Wow, that's heavy.
I think that was the worst period. Yes. And then you kind of stop and you sit still and you sit you work on it. I'm not going to just say you're going to sit still and it's going to pass. It doesn't. I'm going to go back to the industry. The industry does give you a sense of you are one of many. And it doesn't mean that just because you don't get an opportunity, you're not good enough, but it does feel like that a bit. Yes. It is.
I think if you identify kind of, because sometimes we all do it, we identify our self-worth kind of what we achieve.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And probably that's where, I mean, everyone tends to do it, and I think that's where maybe the challenge comes, that if then you don't achieve it, then you fall literally into a dark place. And
it happens with what we say. Funnily enough, I was discussing this with a friend of mine recently, where even in the language that we use, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. So if you don't, what do you want to be? We never say, I want to be kind, I want to be happy, I want to lead a healthy lifestyle. We don't say that. What do you want to be? So the be is defined by the profession or the career that you have taken.
It's like we're kind of, our worth is defined by what we are, but I think as you get older,
there's so much more to it than that.
As you get older, you realize that it's really not the case, you know. No. But again, with regards to mental health, I'm really happy that we're talking about it, because it's there. I mean, and COVID, as you said, brought it to light. It, I think, made people stand still and deal with their feelings.
Yes.
And probably have to tackle certain issues. And I think seeing someone like you who's amazingly successful, beautiful, you know, so bubbly and happy, and say, listen, I've had dark days. It makes them, I think, if someone is having a dark day, it makes them think, okay, so it's not the end of the world for me. You know what I mean? So I think that it's so valuable that you are putting this message out there, that you are talking about it. Please do keep talking about it, because
you have to have brave days too.
Yes.
I don't always have days where I say, you mentioned it earlier, do I post it, do I not? Because you're going to get a backlash, and some people might interpret it as if she's being dramatic, because if you've been through it, you're not going to admit it. No, I've been through it, trust me.
You've ever had any trolls commenting or messaging you?
Of course, all the time.
What was the worst thing?
These comments, if you've actually been through it, you wouldn't comment about it. No, hon.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Trust me, when I'm
You don't
driving,
even have to answer or justify it.
No.
No, but obviously it kind of angers.
It angers
anyone,
you
yes.
because I am trying to. I'm not bringing it up because I want the pity. I don't want the pity. I genuinely don't care. This is about me at the end of the day. I need to do the work. I'm not going to get there any faster with the pity because the work I have to put into it to get myself to a better place. The issue is that I know that there are people that would genuinely benefit from me saying me, not because I am anything. Anybody can say anything. I could just pick up a random magazine and they've interviewed somebody on the street and somebody admits it. Just because. There are days where I just don't want to see a color combination of white and blue and say, oh, that's really cool when I come to dressing up. I need to see somebody that tells me, you're doing well, you're okay, I feel it too, keep going. That is what I need to see. It's the only reason I go public with certain things. Absolutely. And there are days where I say, Ma, is the backlash going to be worse than where I want this to go? And I say, I don't care. I'm going to take the risk. This is my page. This is my platform.
To be honest, I can relate to you a little bit on a very much smaller scale, but sometimes I do sort of put certain things out there and I think, oh my God, like what am I doing? Showing vulnerability. And what I've learned, I think as we do grow older, and I'm a little bit older than you, you do just start really not caring about people,
really don't.
What people think. You really start just doing what you feel is right, and if someone doesn't like it, it's fine. Totally fine. I don't need you to like me.
No.
But obviously, on the other hand, we're human, and if someone obviously, comments or whatever, and you're having a bad day, it's obviously going to hurt. But I really feel, I'm in awe of you. Because I really can relate, and I'm one of those people who are the same as you. On some days, listen, I love the kind of light-hearted stuff, but at the same time, sometimes I really crave the kind of real content, the real conversations, the real, someone who people can relate to, because all the fluff is just fluff,
yes.
And I think you are bringing something that is not fluff, are bringing something real that I really think more people should, hear, and I really thank you for it.
Thank you.
I'm sure on behalf of our audience.
And
if you have any comments, feel free to comment and ask any questions, and we'll get Tezara to answer if you have any questions for her when we go live.
Sure, no problem.
Back to our interview.
Yes.
On a more light-hearted note this time, if you had to choose, and I think it's going to be a tough one.
I know it.
Can you choose acting, singing, TV, radio?
What do I choose?
Which one would you choose? Which one is your favorite space?
We're okay.
Or theatre, TV, like which one?
Okay, if it's without a doubt, between theatre, TV and radio, it is theatre. 100%, for a variety of reasons. First of all, I don't watch myself.
Really?
No.
Wow, okay.
As if, how uncomfortable that is. And the beauty of stage is that you do it live, it's done, and that's it. With television, you do it 450 times, take after take after take, and then you see the finished product when you see the episode, which I never watch, so I never get to.
So you don't even watch yourself on TV?
As if, no. I might not even watch this interview. No.
Even I.
You don't
I don't know if I'll watch it. I get you. I think watching yourself or listening to yourself can be quite daunting and strange.
Well, when it's a character, it's a little bit easier. There were a couple of episodes of Il-Klikka which I actually enjoyed watching because it wasn't me, it was Julia, who was the character I played, who, funnily enough, is very similar to how I am, because she was very bubbly. But no, I find it very uncomfortable. That's the first reason. The second reason is that I love the energy that an audience brings, whereas obviously television doesn't give you that. Although you do have the lovely familiarity of the people on set and the crew, and I learned a very valuable lesson when I was very, very young, that you should always make friends with the crew, and they always have your back. And the lesson I learned this is the lesson, not the make friends with the crew, that's bonus. But the lesson I learned is that you should always leave a production or leave set or leave whatever with people saying, oh, she's such a pleasure to work with, rather than she's so talented. So I always try and aim for that. Obviously, I hope people have that impression, you never know. But I will always say stage. The lights, I mean, aren't there lights on a set of a film? Yes, or a set of yes, but it's not the same thing. You get the applause, you don't do it for the applause at all, but it's so lovely when you hear it, when you have people going, you know, more. It's lovely. I remember when we did We Will Rock You, I had a song called Only the Good Die Young. And I absolutely loved the song because it's such a fast-paced musical.
Yeah, give us a little refrain.
Only the good die young. That's all I can remember. And I remember when I was cast with the role of Oz, I said, she was a main part, but she has mostly stuff in Act 1, and in Act 2 she barely showed. But what am I coming to? It is the moment in the musical where everything kind of slows down, and it's such a fast-paced musical because obviously the Queen songs are so lively and really, you know, rock and all that, that when we got to Only the Good Die Young, it was very mellow. And it was literally just me and the audience. And I loved it. It was 3 minutes where I could just take them on this journey. And I didn't realize what the song meant until I got on stage and I was in her shoes, in her costume, and I could look out and I could sing the words, Only the Good Die Young. We're gonna raise our glass, there's another seat at the table, you're not there, you know?
Listen, I think you're gonna make people crave watching a live performance with this interview because you're making me feel like watching a live performance.
I love it. I'm dying to be in the audience, but I can't tell you how much I'm dying to be on stage. I can't tell you.
That's brought into an interesting question. Do you like going to other theatre productions and watching other? Because
I do, but you kind of
you'd crave being on stage, I think.
Oh, all the time. I'm like, oh, I could have done that. I could sing that.
So probably not as relaxing and enjoyable.
I'm a running commentary. My husband hates it. He's always like, sorry. I'm always like, okay, lighting very crack. I'm a nightmare. I really criticize.
It makes sense though.
But oh, it's my little baby. Yes, I love it. I don't criticize because I مش هشري you know.
We get it.
I just really love it.
Who is your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration, well, I have quite a few people who inspire me. I'm going to sound cliche as I say this, but I do have an extreme admiration for my mom because she is an octopus. What do I mean? She handles so many things. In fact, I resemble her character-wise. And she juggles everything, and everything she touches turns to gold. She's an extremely successful person. There isn't a problem. There's only a solution. You know, she's a midwife by profession, so she's got that real, no, we're not going to freak out. We're not going to, no. We're going to, you know, do what we have to do.
Bring babies in this world.
No, she's retired now, but yes. Okay. She's lovely to be around. She's nice, a lovely quality, you know, to actually, it's something we really take for granted, that you leave somebody and you say, oh, I feel so much more at peace than when I walked in. She's got that effect on people.
What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
I would just tell myself that I'm enough. Whatever it is, I'm enough.
And the last question, what's next for Tezara? I know that...
Tezara.
Sorry,
I'm in trouble. I feel like, Tezara, come to the office.
Your mom used to say Tezara, same thing, Davigno. So,
what's
you have
next?
some exciting news.
I have a Babs on the way, little Babs. So
congratulations.
Thank you. It's finally happened. Finally happened. We're both obviously very excited. Both my husband and I are. We've been together a while, and it's something we had been talking about for a while. We had been trying for a while. Wasn't successful for a while, and finally we're here. So this is
that's an exciting project that's coming up.
Yes,
obviously, what's next? I'm sure you have hopefully other. Well, if you're obviously open to them, I'm sure you're going back to teaching in October.
In fact, I'm going back. I'm going back to teaching. I will obviously stop in March for my maternity leave, I'm hoping for productions as well, and for understanding producers. When I tell them I have a newborn, how are
You'll
the
make it
rehearsals?
work.
I hope so. I hope so, because it is something that is on my mind a lot. Because why would they cast me, who comes with certain limitations?
Listen, we interviewed someone who kind of brings together women entrepreneurs, and we're mentioning how, you know, mums sometimes become even more efficient when they become mums because they have no choice. So I think if you'll wing it, you know. I think
I'm
somehow
hoping. I'm looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, with motherhood, as you know, because you're a mom, there is an element of anxiety and oh my lord, that comes with it. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
We'll see. We'll take it one
Bring
step
it
at a
on.
time. We can do it. I have my husband, so I feel better knowing it's not a journey I'm doing by myself.
Of course.
But he's very positive as well. I can be quite a pessimist, considering I am a bubbly person, happy-go-lucky, but I can be a very big glass half empty, and he's very like,
That's good. You balance each other.
Very
I think it's
much
important.
so. I think we're both very excited to see where this goes now.
Fantastic. Listen, thank you so much for
you.
being our guest here on The Good Chat. Thank you to you guys who are watching. Please, as I said, feel free to comment, share this interview with anyone who you think would like to watch it, and, you know, hit like, love if you want. It always helps us, you know, to reach more people. And I'll see you again on the next episode.